Céline Dion's cause of death has been announced: Twitter. The massacre of stars by hashtag continues in the tweeting world, this time narrowing in on singer and mother Céline Dion. But no need to fear, Céline Dion fans. The alleged car accident or plane crash that killed Céline.
The 57-year-old has slowly returned to the public eye after revealing she had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome in August 2022.
Céline Dion's fortune isn't just money. It's a story of love, loss, and secrets hidden in plain sight. When her incredible legacy came into focus, it didn't just impress her family. It left them in tears. From glittering mansions to priceless jewels, and even private letters filled with promises and memories, every part of her wealth tells a story no one expected.
Welcome to Céline Dion's jaw-dropping estate on Jupiter Island, one of the most exclusive communities in not just Florida, but on the entire planet.
But what exactly did Céline leave behind? And why did it shake her loved ones to their core? Today, we uncover the stunning, untold truth behind her breathtaking legacy. Céline Dion's true fortune. Céline Dion's fortune, estimated at an eye-popping $800 million. Her dazzling fashion lines, luxurious perfumes, sprawling estates, and private jet are impressive by any measure. Yet these glittering symbols of success are only the surface of her true legacy. Beneath the glamour lies something far more powerful: the deep emotional impact she has had on millions of people across the globe. Through her music, she has wiped away tears, lifted weary spirits, and offered hope to those facing life's toughest challenges. Her influence cannot be measured in wealth or awards. It is felt in the hearts she has touched, the lives she has changed, and the courage she has inspired. For decades, Céline's career has been a remarkable testament to talent, resilience, and sheer dedication. From sold-out arenas to record-breaking Las Vegas residencies, she redefined what it means to captivate an audience. But her voice has done more than entertain. It has healed. Each concert became a refuge, each song a heartfelt confession, each note a bridge connecting her own experiences of hunger, sacrifice, love, and loss to the hearts of her listeners. Behind the bright lights and roaring applause was a woman pouring her very soul into every melody. Even through exhaustion, illness, and the relentless pressures of fame.
The footage is terrifying, but it shows what a full-blown seizure is like for Céline.
Squeeze Brian's hand if you can.
Hey girl, good job, boss.
Good. So she's still with us?
The singer, with tears in her eyes, is unable to move as she moans in agony.
She never let her music falter. Céline's journey from humble beginnings to global superstardom is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in the small town of Charlemagne, Quebec, she rose from poverty and obscurity to perform on stages watched by millions. She sang through joy and heartbreak, love and loss, grief and unimaginable pressure, giving everything she had, and somehow always finding more to give. Every glittering gown, every standing ovation, and every record-breaking performance was built on relentless discipline, unwavering courage, and a deep, unshakable commitment to her craft. Yet her true legacy extends far beyond the material and the spectacular. It lives in the quiet moments where her music has soothed aching hearts, inspired hope, and offered strength when it was needed most. Céline has transformed personal pain into song, scarcity into abundance, and silence into symphonies that resonate across time. The same little girl who once sang from the drawers in her family home, with nothing but a melody to cling to, still lives in every note she delivers. That voice, that perseverance, that soul. Céline Dion's gift is eternal. She reminds the world that true wealth is not counted in possessions, fame, or fortune, but in the lives we touch, the hope we spark, and the love we leave behind. Her music will continue to echo for generations, a living testament to a woman who turned struggle into song, pain into beauty, and a simple melody into a legacy that will forever sing in the hearts of millions. Her voice, resilience, and love have created a legacy beyond fortune. Yet even amidst wealth, life's struggles remain. How does she face loss, grief, and hardship? Now, let's explore Céline Dion's heart-shattering journey through love, family, and the trials behind her triumphs. A heart torn twice. In just a span of 48 hours, Céline Dion was struck by a grief so profound, so unrelenting, it might have crushed even the strongest hearts. The first blow came in the quiet of a hospital room when the love of her life, René Angélil, the man who had nurtured her dreams, stood steadfastly beside her in every triumph, and whose faith in her voice had never wavered, breathed his last, the anchor of her adult life, the person who had been her protector, partner, and greatest supporter.
Celine's bond with Renee goes beyond husband and wife. He believed in her talent from the beginning and became her manager before she was even 13.
Was suddenly gone, leaving a void that seemed impossible to fill. Barely 48 hours later, the cruel hand of fate struck again. Her childhood anchor, her beloved brother Daniel, succumbed to cancer, leaving Céline to confront the staggering finality of loss twice over. One was her future, the man who had shaped the course of her adult life. The other, her past, a link to her earliest memories and her family roots. It was as though the universe had deliberately chosen to test her, delivering sorrow with surgical precision, forcing her to confront the limits of endurance, resilience, and the human spirit. Grief did not arrive in small doses. It did not whisper. It roared, flooding every part of her being. Behind the closed doors of her Montreal home, she clutched photographs, fingertips trembling, white-knuckled as she whispered to faces that could no longer respond. Every memory, every laugh and tear echoed in silence, haunting her with what had been and what was suddenly gone. Yet, to the outside world, Céline appeared composed. She performed the near impossible act of existing in two worlds at once. One private, consumed by heartbreak, the other public, where she greeted mourners, thanked supporters, and carried herself with a dignity that belied the chaos of her emotions. In those days, the world did not see the woman whose soul was unraveling behind her eyes. Instead, they saw the icon, the superstar, the voice that had inspired millions. But behind that veneer stood a daughter, a sister, a widow, and a human being grappling with an unimaginable convergence of loss. She had to navigate the impossible, to endure grief so immense that it threatened to erase her very being, and yet find the strength to move forward, to breathe, and to exist in a world that had suddenly grown unbearably silent. Céline Dion's response in those harrowing 48 hours became a testament not to fame or fortune, but to the raw, unyielding resilience of the human heart. In facing the unthinkable, she demonstrated the fragile, yet formidable power of endurance, and showed the world that even in the deepest darkness, strength can quietly persist, shaping the very essence of who we are. Through immense loss, Céline Dion's resilience shines, inspiring the world. But beyond her trials and triumphs, a question lingers. Does she experience true love? And if so, was it truly everlasting? Now let's uncover the untold details of her heart and life beyond the spotlight. Love, loss, and the sacrifice behind the spotlight. Céline Dion's life cannot be summed up by awards, chart-topping hits, or sold-out arenas.
In Record of the Year, the nominations are The Boy Is Mine, Brandy and Monica. My Heart Will Go On, Céline Dion.
Success, as dazzling as it was, never told the full story. Her journey has always been about something far deeper, about love, connection, and the quiet, invisible threads that hold the human heart together. At the very center of that tapestry was René Angélil, the man who had seen the brilliance in her voice before anyone else dared to believe. He took a gamble few would consider, even mortgaging his own home to give her a chance at stardom. But René's role in Céline's life would grow into something far more profound than manager or mentor. He became her protector, her partner, her safe harbor, and, eventually, the great love of her life. Their love blossomed away from the public eye, hidden from flashing cameras and prying headlines. It was a love measured not in tabloid stories or social media posts, but in quiet, unwavering devotion, a calming presence backstage, a steadying hand before each performance, and the silent encouragement that buoyed her through triumphs and setbacks alike. By 1994, their connection culminated in a deeply personal celebration of their bond. At Montreal's Grande Notre Dame Basilica, they married, not to impress the world, but to honor a love that had become the foundation of Céline's existence. René's presence permeated every corner of her life. He guided tours, managed schedules, listened to anxieties, and celebrated victories, no matter how small. He was the calm in the storms of expectation, the hand that lifted her when fame's weight threatened to overwhelm. Together, they built a love that shone quietly but intensely, forged from patience, loyalty, and resilience. A fortress shielding them from life's unpredictable chaos. Yet even the strongest love faces trials. In 2013, René was diagnosed with throat cancer, a cruel disease threatening the man who had been Céline's anchor through every storm. The glittering stages, the screaming fans, the standing ovations, all of it became insignificant. Céline abandoned the spotlight to stay by his side, holding his hand through sterile hospital corridors, humming lullabies to ease the tension in the air, and filling spaces with the comforting weight of her presence when words were not enough. On January 14, 2016, René passed away, leaving Céline to navigate a world now hollowed by absence.
For Céline Dion, it was the loss of her greatest love of all, husband René Angélil. The renowned singer posting on her Facebook page, "It is with deep sadness that we announce that René, aged 73, died after a long and courageous fight against cancer."
She walked alone down the very aisle where they had once pledged forever, the space beside her echoing the lifetime of love they had shared. Today, every note Céline sings carries layers of melody, memory, grief, and enduring devotion. Her story is a poignant reminder that no fame, fortune, or applause can shield anyone from the depth of human loss. Behind the sequins, glitter, and roaring ovations, there is a woman who has learned to carry not only her dreams, but also the echo of a love that shaped her very soul, one that continues to live in every song she sings. Every note Céline Dion sings carries echoes of love, loss, and devotion. But was her voice a gift inherited from a musical family, or a passion she forged through relentless will? Now let's dive into the making of a voice that stopped the world. From poverty to power. Céline Marie Claude Dion came into the world on March 30, 1968, in the small working-class town of Charlemagne, Quebec. Life there was far from easy. Resources were scarce, and comfort was a luxury her family could seldom afford. She was the youngest of 14 children in a household that, despite its constant noise and bustling energy, often struggled to meet even the most basic needs. Her first crib wasn't a proper cradle at all, but a wooden drawer lined with soft blankets. It was a modest beginning, one that could hardly hint at the extraordinary destiny that awaited a little girl whose voice would one day echo across continents. From the very start, music wasn't just entertainment, it was survival. Her earliest lullabies were the gentle hums and practiced notes of her older siblings. Their voices became the soundtrack of her childhood, shaping her sense of melody, rhythm, and harmony. By the age of 5, she was already performing at her brother's wedding, not with the carefree spirit of a child seeking praise, but with a seriousness that suggested her very existence depended on each note. By 12, she was no longer just singing, she was creating. Alongside her mother, she composed original songs and with her brother Michel, recorded homemade demos. One cassette, sent to Montreal music producer René Angelil, would change everything. Overwhelmed by the clarity, strength, and purity of her voice, Angelil made a decision that few would dare. He mortgaged his own home to finance her first album. From that moment, Céline's life became a relentless pursuit of excellence. While other children played outside or enjoyed carefree afternoons, she spent hours in cold, echoing recording studios. She learned English phonetically before truly understanding it, sacrificed sleep, and missed birthdays and social gatherings. The ordinary joys of youth were replaced by rigorous practice and performance. Her first single became a hit in Quebec, and by 1982, at just 14 years old, she performed in Tokyo before a staggering audience of 115 million viewers, stepping onto the global stage as a budding international star. Yet behind the glitter and applause lay a childhood marked by sacrifice. Every note she sang carried the weight of her family's dreams, and every performance demanded endurance far beyond her years. Céline Dion's story was never simply about talent. It was about relentless determination, courage, and a fierce drive that refused to be silenced. Her later career would be decorated with Grammys, Oscars, and albums that shattered records.
Céline Dion's unannounced appearance closes out the Grammy Awards.
When I say that I'm happy to be here.
But the real story began long before the fame. It started in that humble wooden drawer, with a hungry, determined child whose singing was more than art. It was life itself. From such humble beginnings, the voice of a legend emerged. But beyond fame, how did she face personal battles, her quest for motherhood, and the heartbreak of loss? Let's uncover the journey that shaped her. Whispers of strength. Long before the world saw Céline Dion in the glare of spotlights, draped in grief that made headlines, she was quietly waging battles that few could see. Her sorrow was subtle, intimate, and profoundly human. A war fought not on stages, but in the hushed corridors of hospitals and the quiet of her own home. Her niece, Karine, born with cystic fibrosis, became her first test of endurance, not as a celebrity, but as a motherly figure, a guardian, and a fiercely loving aunt. Céline's love for Karine did not roar in applause or glitter in sequins. It whispered in lullabies, trembled in hands holding fragile fingers, and glimmered in songs offered to life when medicine itself could not promise tomorrow. One such song, V, stands as a tender monument to that love. Written for Karine, it was never intended for charts, awards, or public acclaim. It was a private farewell, a prayer folded into melody, a lullaby imbued with grief and hope. Each note carried a mother's fear, an aunt's devotion, and the fragile yearning of someone who understood that love sometimes has to speak louder than science. Even decades later, the echoes of that song linger in Céline's heart, a reminder of battles fought silently, of strength measured not in sold-out arenas, but in unwavering presence at a loved one's bedside. Motherhood itself became another battlefield. Early miscarriages, long years of IVF, and the unpredictable trials of fertility tested her patience, resolve, and spirit. Every child was a triumph, earned through struggle. Every moment a testament to endurance. René Charles, her firstborn, arrived after years of longing and perseverance. Later, twins Nelson and Eddie came into the world. Tiny miracles shaped by sleepless nights, relentless injections, and quiet suffering only a parent could truly understand. When tragedy struck and René, her devoted husband, passed away, Céline found herself navigating widowhood while raising 3 boys alone. She carried the dual weight of anchor and lullaby, of guiding her children while tending to her own grief. Even as the global stage fell silent around her, her voice, once celebrated by millions, found its truest resonance in the stillness of her home, in tender songs sung in the dark, in whispers of reassurance to those who relied on her love. Through every private struggle, Céline Dion's life became a testament to invisible strength, a reminder that true heroism often escapes public notice. The world may see the glamour, the awards, and the sold-out arenas, but her real legacy lies in the faintest of lullabies, the quietest acts of love, and the unyielding courage that defines a life spent giving everything, even when no one is watching. Marked by grief and sacrifice, Céline Dion's love and strength continue to echo beyond the stage. But how does a woman who once seemed unstoppable face a devastating illness that threatens the very gift defining her? Now let us uncover Céline's courageous battle against stiff person syndrome. Céline Dion versus stiff person syndrome.
I've been dealing with problems with my health for a long time.
In a December 2022 message to her fans, Céline Dion gave voice to the 1 in a million people struggling with the same disorder she's been battling off stage.
Life has a way of testing even the strongest hearts, often in ways that arrive without warning. For Céline Dion, one of the most extraordinary voices the world has ever known, the test came in the form of an unexpected and rare neurological condition, stiff person syndrome. For someone whose life had been defined by music, performance, and the ability to move audiences with a single note, the diagnosis struck like a cruel and unrelenting blow. At first, the reality of SPS was almost impossible to bear. The condition causes severe muscle stiffness, painful spasms, and rigidity, turning even the simplest daily movements into monumental challenges. Tasks that most take for granted, walking across a room, standing without trembling or even gesturing naturally, became battles. For Céline, a woman whose identity, passion, and purpose were inseparable from her voice, the fear that her body might betray her most intimately was overwhelming. Every canceled performance, every postponed tour, was a reminder that the life she had built could no longer proceed as she once knew it. The stage, once a sanctuary of triumph and adoration, became a distant memory, replaced by sterile hospital rooms, quiet hours of solitude, and the endless cycle of medical care. Yet even amid such darkness, Céline discovered a well of strength that few could have anticipated. Instead of surrendering to despair, she chose to face her reality with honesty and courage, transforming a private struggle into a universal story of resilience. She spoke openly about her journey, explaining, "No one should suffer alone. A lot of people are going through things alone for many, many, many years. If I had stayed secretly behind, my home would have become a prison, and I would have become a prisoner of my own life." Through these words, Céline showed that vulnerability can be a form of power. By acknowledging her pain and allowing the world to witness it, she turned an intensely personal battle into a beacon of hope for millions. Her fight was no longer just about surviving illness. It became a lesson in courage, connection, and purpose. Living one day at a time, she redefined what it truly means to succeed. Success was no longer measured by sold-out arenas, Grammy Awards, or chart-topping hits. It was measured by the strength to continue, the honesty to share, and the ability to lift others through her story. Céline Dion's experience with SPS reminds us that even in life's most painful chapters, there can be a deeper meaning. When the body falters, the spirit can rise. When the world seems silent, a single voice, brave, truthful, and unyielding, can inspire hope, comfort, and courage far beyond the stage. Through her journey, Céline shows that hardship doesn't just test us, It reveals hidden strength, yet one question remains. How does she face such a relentless illness? Let's uncover how Céline Dion turns pain, loss, and silence into a legacy of courage and inspiration. The voice of resilience. While her battle with SPS tested both her body and her spirit, Céline Dion's story did not end on those challenging notes. Far removed from the roar of stadiums and the dazzling glare of public attention, she's carved out a life that is quieter, but no less extraordinary. Each morning, her days begin with gentle melodies, soft singing, and the soothing hum of lullabies. She works with her own voice, with patience and care, honing her craft not for applause, but for personal growth, transforming her home into a haven of love, resilience, and reflection. At the same time, Céline navigates the profound depths of widowhood following the loss of her beloved husband and lifelong manager, René Angélil. She balances the demands of her own grief while raising 3 children, René Charles, Nelson, and Eddie, with unwavering love, guidance, and dedication. She is both a mother and a beacon of strength, showing her children how to move forward with grace in the face of heartache. Though the bright lights of the stage may no longer shine on her every night, her inner light radiates more brilliantly than ever, illuminating her family and those who look up to her. Her vast fortune, dazzling array of awards, and record-breaking achievements barely scratch the surface of Céline's true legacy. Beyond the glitz and glamour lies a story of courage, endurance, and the extraordinary ability to transform personal suffering into something universally resonant. The heartbreak she has endured, losing a partner, facing physical challenges, and confronting life's unpredictable trials, has become a source of strength that seeps into her music. Each note she sings carries a depth of emotion and understanding that connects with listeners across generations, cultures, and continents. Her songs are more than entertainment. They are vessels of hope, comfort, and shared human experience. Even if the stadiums no longer quake under the force of her voice, Céline Dion's influence remains profound. She inspires not through spectacle, but through authenticity. She uplifts not with grand gestures, but with quiet demonstrations of perseverance, love, and humanity. Her journey shows that true artistry is not measured solely by fame or accolades, but by the ability to endure, to heal, and to continue giving, even when the spotlight fades. Céline's story is a testament not just to her artistic genius, but to the remarkable resilience of the human spirit. It is a reminder that even in the face of immense loss, we can continue to love, create, and inspire. Life may take the stage lights away, but it cannot dim the brilliance of someone who chooses to keep moving forward, keep singing, and keep touching hearts in the most profound and lasting ways. In her quiet moments at home, Céline Dion embodies the truth that the most enduring power lies not in applause, but in the courage to live fully, love deeply, and rise again, no matter how dark the world may seem. But what do you think about Céline Dion's fortune that made her family cry? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.